And they're off.
It's Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock. It's post time. Live from Dillsburg Downs, it's the 54th running of the Pennsylvania Stakes. Here comes today's horses out of the paddock now. They are wearing number 1 with blue and white is Future Elmer's product. Jockeying will be Juan Martinez. The odds are 5-2. The number 2 horse wearing a tan sash with chrome is This Ain't Your Grandfather's Buick. At the reins will be Carlos Valdez. Odds today are 20-1. Horse wearing number 3 and wearing a black sash with red lacy numbers and a low-cut bridle is a gay prostitute. He is being ridden by Miguel Hernandez. Today's favorite, a gay prostitute, has 8-5 odds. The all-black stallion wearing gold sash with purple trim and spinners is named That Nigga Be Trippin' is a number 4 horse, 7-1 odds. Wearing number 5 in the black and orange is a Jeff and Dan show. It looks like the Jeff and Dan show is wearing Christmas lights. I can't tell. It seems a string of lights are hanging on orange and black. I don't know. Maybe it's Halloween. Very strange. Anyways, the Jeff and Dan show is 420-1 odds. The number 6 horse, Buck U, has the green and white sash. Buck U is jockeyed by, and nobody one cares though, Tinez. The odds really don't matter. Buck U. And the 7th horse is Shuttlecock, wearing all white with little red dot. Horse number 8, I Got a Itch, has been scratched. Okay, making their way into the starting gates now. The race is 14 furlongs in length. And they're off. Future's Elmer product and Buck U both off to a good start. Shuttlecock comes out in stride. Looks like the Jeff and Dan show stumbled a bit out of the gate. It's Future Elmer's product out in front with Shuttlecock right behind him. Right behind them, neck and neck, are a gay prostitute and Buck U. Directly behind them is That Nigga Be Trippin', followed by This Ain't Your Grandfather's Buick. Bringing up the rear is the Jeff and Dan show. Making their way into the first turn now, it's Shuttlecock, all even with Future Elmer's product, followed by the 3 wide tangent of Buck U, a gay prostitute, and That Nigga Be Trippin'. 2 lengths behind them are This Ain't Your Father's Grand Buick and the Jeff and Dan show, side by side battling for last place. Midway through the first turn, it's Future Elmer's product and Buck U are both out in front, side by side. Future's Elmer product on the inside. Keeping pace behind is a gay prostitute in 3rd and Buck U in 4th. Tightly behind in the 5th position is Shuttlecock. 3 lengths behind is the Jeff and Dan show in 6th. This Ain't Your Grandfather's Buick 5th. 5 lengths behind, lumbering along in 7th. They're making their way into the backstretch now. The pace has been sensible for the first opening quarter mile, and at the half it was 50 seconds flat. So a bit of a crawl here at the Pennsylvania Stakes at Dillsburg Downs with the heavy track and all. Buck U now ahead by a nose over Future Elmer's product. In 3rd, looking for room on the outside, is That Nigga Be Trippin'. Gay prostitute in 4th, even with Shuttlecock on the outside. The Jeff and Dan show, 2 lengths behind now. Approaching the halfway mark at 7 furlongs, it's Buck U out in front, away from the rail, pushing Future Elmer's product to the outside of the track. That Nigga Be Trippin' with Shuttlecock and a gay prostitute all tied up at 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Jeff and Dan 2 lengths behind now, and This Ain't Your Grandfather's Buick not on pace at all. 3/4 of a mile and halfway, it is 1:15-1. The pace is beginning to pick up now. Buck U up in front by a head, then it's That Nigga Be Trippin' charging into 2nd with Future Elmer's product in 3rd and starting to create a gap now with the gay prostitute in 4th. In 5th, it's Shuttlecock. 1 length behind in 6th is a Jeff and Dan show. Buck U, nigger and gay prostitute, 1, 2, and 3. Future Elmer's product falling off now. He's in 4th with Shuttlecock in 5th. Here comes the Jeff and Dan show. Caught up to the Shuttlecock, but still in 6th. The riders are beginning to get a little impatient now, some trying to make their moves. It's turning furlongs along now, and it's That Nigga Be Trippin' with a gay prostitute in 2nd. Buck U, Shuttlecock in 4th, and Future's Elmer product is about to give 5th to the Jeff and Dan show. Jeff and Dan show starting to show some strength, only 4 lengths behind the leaders. Coming up on the quarter post now, it's a gay prostitute. Buck Q in second, and that nigga be tripping with a length in third. The Jeff and Dan show is rolled into fourth behind 1 length. Then on the outside is Shuttlecock in fifth. At the top of the stretch, it's 3 wide. Buck Q, gay prostitute, that nigga be tripping, and a half length away, it's the Jeff and Dan show. Shuttlecock falling off in fifth. 2 furlongs ago, it's that nigga be tripping and the gay prostitute pulling on in front of Buck Q. Right on the heels of Buck Q's Jeff and Dan show, rolling up on the outside. Buck Q getting all kinds of motivation by some little Mexican with a whip. He and the Jeff and Dan show have pulled up even nose to nose with that nigga be tripping and a gay prostitute. It's 4 wide down the stretch, 1 furlong to go. A gay prostitute, Buck Q and the Jeff and Dan show out in front. Now by nose in front of that nigga be tripping. On the outside, it's a gay prostitute, Buck Q in the middle, Jeff and Dan show on the outside. That nigga be tripping, falling off late. All tied up, Jeff and Dan in the 3-way with a gay prostitute, Buck Q on the outside. Down to the wire, Buck Q is dropping off. Jeff and Dan, a gay prostitute, all tied up. It's Jeff and Dan. It's a gay prostitute. It's Jeff and Dan. Jeff and Dan pulls slightly out, a gay prostitute. It's desperate now for a gay prostitute. It's a Jeff and Dan show, ahead by the 1. And the line of the winner is, it's the Jeff and Dan show. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday, it's almost 7:30, and it's time for the Jeff and Dan show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We are live at the Dillsburg Downs and here for the 54th running of the Pennsylvania Stakes. We are having a good time tonight, losing a little bit of coin, making a little bit of coin. Well, no, losing a little bit of coin. Sitting over there is my main man, Jeff. Jeff, welcome to the Jeff and Dan show.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Have you ever been to the horse races besides tonight?
I have, but not really to watch the horse race.
What were you doing?
Just looking. It's kind of like trailer shopping, you know. Hey, man. All right, I like that trailer.
So Jeff's trying to provide a little stud service.
That's right, exactly. Exactly. Okay, I'm going to come down here and pedal my bike down. Yeah. Yes. So, very interesting night. Very interesting.
Yeah.
New wonderful opening there. That was actually really good, sir. I commend you.
You know what? It was a lot of fun doing my homework this week, and I realized, and I've known this all along, but it just kind of reaffirmed for me that I can look any kind of gambling in the eye. Instant tickets, online, poker, chicken, whatever. Any kind of gambling, I can look it right in the eye, and I can laugh, and I can say, screw you, gambling! I can do it without you. But the minute I go to... Oh, yeah. Tough talking, Dan. At the minute I go to a horse track, I will spend everything in my pocket if I'm not governed.
Yeah. So that's the one. What do they call it? The Achilles heel that you have
in gambling. Yeah, I don't gamble it hardly at all. Once in a while, I'll throw a couple dollars towards Powerball, but only because it's getting crazy high or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And instant tickets, I don't even bother with anymore. I get to scratch once a year at Christmas. That's about it.
Yeah.
But anytime I go to a horse track, man, them horses just...
They call you.
They do. They set some testosterone free.
They call you. There it is. Ever been to a dog track?
No.
That one you should try, man. I don't really agree with it, about the whole greyhounds captivity thing, but I think that's very close to what the horses would be like, except there's no jockeys. Well, there might be, but it would be like a fucking capuchin monkey or something. Exactly. So riding along.
Well, I don't know about the greyhounds and the dog horses, but I do know horse tracks. Some really take care of their animals and hold them in high esteem.
Right.
Some of them don't give a shit. It's about the buck.
Right. The almighty dollar.
Yeah, buck the horse.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. A lot of them, like the name of that one horse, soon to be a Elmer's product.
Future Elmer's product.
Future Elmer's product. Yeah, that's the way they look at it. They're like, hey, man, if I get my money on a good steed running out here on these courses and it breaks a leg or something ends up happening, I'm just going to sell it to Elmer's. I'm done. It's either Elmer's or dog food, one or the other. You pick.
Future Purina product.
Exactly.
Future Elmer's product, brother.
Lucky horse leg. That's the offspring of both of them. So, sir, how has your week been?
Oh, good.
Cool.
I am thanking God I don't live in Texas.
Yeah, it's pretty bad down there now.
I work with a foreigner who's from Nepal.
Right.
And he's a very good guy, and he has some foreigner friends in Houston.
Oh.
And before Harvey... time out. Wait a minute. Stop. Hurricane Katrina. Do you remember Hurricane Katrina?
Yeah, 2005.
I am so sick to death of hearing Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
You'd think that was the only thing that happened in 2005.
Exactly.
I am sick to death of hearing it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I'm going to hear Harvey now for the rest of my life because it just eclipsed Katrina and every other storm almost combined. Anyways, my foreign Nepal buddy... He was talking about the hurricane, Harvey, and he asked me, do you think the people in Houston were safe? And Houston is inland. I said, oh, my God, yes. They'll get rain and some wind. And I never really thought they would get 50 inches of water with no place for it to go.
Right. And that 50 inches of water multiplies whenever it's in a situation where it's lower than where the rest of the water's at. Because I have pictures of telephone poles. I'm sorry, not telephone poles. Stoplights that are affixed sideways on the poles. You know how ours are vertical, theirs are horizontal in some places. I have a picture that shows the water just underneath that.
And that's a good 20 feet up.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it's absolutely freaking insane. And my heart goes out to all those people out there that have to deal with that.
There are so many mechanics involved in this.
Right.
One of the mechanics is all those people down there don't have flood insurance.
Right.
They never needed it. Houston's never flooded.
Right. Yeah.
The only flood they had were pants in the 70s.
High waters. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, technically they are still really close to the coast, and during Hurricane Katrina, it did affect Houston too, but it wasn't as bad as this is. This is like... It's really bad. As a matter of fact, the numbers have been coming down. Hurricane Katrina dumped 30 trillion gallons of water during its time over the United States. Now, this is an estimate, of course, but it's calculated over a really good mathematical figure, and it knows just how much land it actually, all this water landed on. The estimates now, the first, are coming in from the first time that Harvey has hit the coast, at 82 trillion gallons of water.
The first time.
The second time's now bumped it up to 96 trillion gallons of water.
It eclipsed it by Katrina by 2 to 500%.
Yeah. More than 300 times the amount of that landed in Katrina. Correct.
And have you ever heard of a hurricane going offshore and coming back in?
No.
To punch you in the balls again?
It doesn't happen.
Punch you in the balls.
It doesn't happen. Here's the reason why it doesn't happen is because hurricanes always dissipate when hitting land.
Right.
Always. There has never in our recorded history been a case of a hurricane becoming a hurricane anywhere over land, unless it's a small island. Now, I will admit, Puerto Rico, Cuba, places like that have seen devastation where it went from a tropical storm to a hurricane right over top of them. But you got to understand there's almost no mass there preventing it from becoming a hurricane.
It's a speed bump.
Exactly. And that's the way it's looking at it. It's like, oh, it's a pimple. I'm just going to ride right over this and destroy everything. In this case, it became a tropical storm. It was a tropical depression when it entered the Gulf. Became a tropical storm in the Gulf. Then became another category hurricane. Now, it had become a hurricane before when it went across the Caribbean. And then it died off, became like because I guess these little speed bumps really kind of stuck it to it. But now it ended up turning into a hurricane, and it went, I believe, to a Hurricane 3, which was, 150 mile per hour winds.
It did go to Cat 3, yes.
Yeah, and then it hit Houston, and what happened was because our jet stream at that point was, how it dips down in the center of the country and goes back up again. It's the reason why we get nor'easters. Well, it just so happens that dip was over to the east a little more than it should have been. And it bounced off the bottom of that and went right back out to the Gulf and then tried to re-enter again. It of course, got scattered a little bit and then it reinforced itself. Yeah. So
what I had heard explained to me too was hurricanes come over land and dissipate because there's no water for them to build up strength.
Yes.
Well, this hurricane goes into Texas, dumps shitloads of water, and re-strengthens itself because it is essentially no longer over land.
Right. Right.
It just... So, yeah, what devastation.
Well, not only the fact that it doesn't have water to sustain it, it also has friction that it has to deal with. The circular motion that a hurricane commits to actually gets destroyed because when it hits land, it's the friction at the base of that storm, because it's got to go over different obstacles, is now killing it. So it's a combination of both. It's the water, but it's also the fact that it's got to go over these obstacles. And it's just it's unprecedented. And the thing is, I know you don't want to hear about it. Climate change is part of it, because what's happening now is the oceans are getting warmer, and that's the weather is only going to get worse. I can promise you that it's going to get worse. And there are going to be times where, now here's the thing. It's funny you mentioned Katrina, because I've been hearing a lot, because I guess I know a lot of people on the East Coast. People on the East Coast saying things like, "Well, what about Sandy?" Sandy was bad. Sandy was a bad storm. And that was, 2010, 2011, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a bad storm. But I don't know that it had caught everybody as off guard as it did Katrina had done.
I think Sandy was a Category 1 or 2.
Yeah, probably.
So it really wasn't, compared to a 3 or 4, it wasn't as strong.
Right.
But when you take a direct hit from any hurricane, 1, 2, or 3, it's going to kick your ass a little bit. It's
going to hurt.
So it did kick our ass a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But, it was nothing compared to this storm going on right now.
Right. Well, we were expecting it more. We had a little more enforced and in progress when that happened. And a lot of people had been evacuated at that point. And not to, say it any less, Sandy was rather, bad storm. It took out piers and, just like wiped out complete areas, and did a lot of flooding. And it didn't, but the thing is, we weren't caught off guard with Sandy as much as we were, first of all, with Katrina, but now definitely with this one, we weren't expecting Harvey to do this kind of damage. And that's all it's done. It's just nothing but a damaging thing. And it wasn't the first time this has actually hit landfall. It's done it almost 4 times now, Harvey.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The one arm, when it first went into the Gulf, sent a lot of rain and stuff in that general direction. Now, granted, you can't really say, oh, yeah, that's part of the hurricane, but you can. You know what I mean? Because really, honestly, if the hurricane had not been there, they would have never received any rain. And that's the reason why we've been experiencing some rain, is because now it's eventually getting up to where the Gulf Stream's at, and the Gulf Stream's pulling it up in our general direction. So that's why we had some rain. I guess
it's supposed to actually be here. The remnants of that storm are supposed to be here on Saturday.
Yes. Yeah.
Which probably be nothing but just a rainy day.
Exactly. To us. Yeah. It's probably going to be, slightly windier than typical, but yeah, it'll probably be just a rainy day. So, and I mean, my heart goes out to it. You hear all the stories. You see all the really cool things. You see like the Mexican Guard helping the people to get back, and out of the flooding. You saw that the one really, really super huge one that's, it's kind of unfair, but at the same time, I see why it's a good thing to have it there, is the black guy that's carrying the 2 white kids out from the house. There's a picture that's been floating around on social media. It's pretty big. And with all the stuff that we've been going on, especially with like the Charlottesville stuff and all the racial divide and everything, it's good to see something like that. But then, of course, all my redneck friends, I have some super redneck family that are like, they were posting stuff like, well, I see that guy carrying those kids, but I see this white guy carrying this Mexican woman. So it's like, oh, yeah, we got to equate it. And to be honest with you, I instantly just said, listen, when it's a situation like this has nothing to do with color. It doesn't matter who you are, unless you are the most corrupt person on the planet. It doesn't matter what the person's color looks like. You're out to help those people. You are human beings helping human beings. It doesn't matter the color, the state. If this is a poor person or a rich person, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely agreed.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's really what it comes down to. And I think they should look everything, as one whole. And then there's this one story that I just read about today that it just really kills me.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. A mother was trying to save her child, and 18-month-old child, which is hard to believe, but attempted to try and get across a ravine, like an area where the water had sort of dipped down, and she didn't make it. She ended up drowning, and the child was on top of her floating body when they found him.
Yeah.
And
still alive.
Yeah, and she was getting ready to go underneath a railroad trestle, which would have been impossible for the boats to get beyond because they just couldn't do it. And if it had happened, that poor child would be dead now as we speak. But they were able to catch them in time, and man, it's.
I can't even think about it, man.
I know.
I can't even think about it.
It's just to fathom that, a kid now probably has lost the only thing that, really, really cared about. I don't know the father situation, but.
Well, the blessing for the kid is it's young enough, it will not remember this. And it has a chance for a normal life if it gets a caring and loving mother.
I think so.
Yeah, you're right. We don't know what the father situation is like.
Right. So we don't know where that's going to head, but I honestly, I think it's one of the most famous stories of this Houston thing. It's huge. It's millions of people have read the story or at least heard about it now.
One of the great things about humans is when tragedies happen like this, especially with a little kid now being orphaned.
Right.
Americans line up to adopt that kid.
Exactly. And that's good.
That's great.
That's good. But at the same time, there's always that influx of people that come in a little too late. And, of course, there's always that person that's there saying something to the effect of, there are other children that you could adopt. And, those people don't want to hear that. They want the famous baby. You know what I mean? And seriously, there are a lot of people out there to be like, oh, no, we can't get the baby. Okay, well, we're not interested. So my heart goes out to those children who are also either orphaned or in foster care, or have been in bad situations that really, really need some nice parents. I'm hoping that people will put aside their moronic notions to be like, oh, I want to be rich and famous with this kid, and just be like, hey, another kid really needs a loving home. So I have, I don't put this against my wife, and I won't. But we've had the conversation about doing some adopting or at least some foster caring stuff. And my wife has just been like, no. And I'm like, well,
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. I can guarantee that, because now you're taking on a child who has had problems or...
if you can't get that child when it's a baby, don't do it.
Right.
You get to the age between 5 and 10... Up to 5, you can still do it. Up to 5,
yeah.
And I think the kid's memory is going to be not developed enough that it won't remember any of it. It'll just accept you as its parents,
right.
Totally out and out. You get to that age between 5 and 10, they remember. They may have some problems in the future. They may not.
Right.
Past 10, I can guarantee you your last dollar, you will have problems.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I can guarantee you there's a 90% chance it will not work.
Right.
I hate to say that. Yeah, it's terrible, but...
It's true. It's true. You have to look at things realistically. You can't just walk by and be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this because I want to be helpful. You have to take into account that this child also has its own personality at that point.
Right.
After 10 years old, it's sort of decided, whether or not it's going to be an asshole or not. I hate to put it that way, but that's really kind of what it is.
Son, you're 9. You need to know. You need to determine today if you're going to be an asshole for the rest of your life.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. And, there's not much you can do about it to prevent them from taking that course. I'm not paying for your tuition. So, I mean, you could technically go that route, but there's a good possibility that, at that point they're feeling scorned and they're not happy about it. I know it's all. There's this one episode of Family Guy where Carter Pewterschmidt is taking Chris under his wing, and he's gonna put him into the Skull and Bones Society. He's at this special school
Yale
that he got him into. No, it's just like a preparatory school. Morningwood Academy. Shit, that's the name of the place. And I'm I'm Charles Chapstick of the Chapstick Fortune. There's long tooth, and this one dude's got a huge fucking long ass jaw at the bottom.
Is that the one?
Yeah, yes. No, that's Ollie. But no, or not Ollie. Yeah, the guy that works at Paul Tuckett Beer. I know who you're talking about, the one that's like all fucked up. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Opie.
True. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's right.
Ollie is. It's going to rain.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Thank you, Ollie. But yeah, no. What was I going to say? During this episode, he explains to Chris. He says, he goes, "We're going to do our pastime. We're going to go out here and go to an adoption agency and adopt a kid, and then we're going to pull up and make it so that he can't get into the car." And they do. And he pulls up and he goes, "Come on, man, there's some toys in here. Oh, look, there's a puppy waiting for you. Come on. And the kid's like trying to get the door open and he can't. And they're like, "Oh, you suck." And then they leave. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. But anyway, that's the kind of things that, And, it's always the deal where it's kind of like, I feel so bad for the kids who are orphaned or have not been adopted, because it's like they almost feel like the lowest common denominator of human being, because it's like, well, why doesn't anybody want me, And that's why I just, I feel so bad about that, and it makes me almost want to continue, even though I know the problems. I still, I think there's a possibility to make it so that you can create a home life for a child that isn't going to be bad, super bad, you know what I mean? And try to show them that you can. I think a lot of the times people don't know what to expect when they go into having, adopted a kid, especially those people that have never had kids before. So it's a good possibility they walk in with a naivety where they're kind of like, "Oh, well, we're going to do our best to make you," you know what I mean?
Oh, they're definitely naive.
Yeah.
If they're not adopting a baby, they're adopting an older child. They have this grand illusion, and I do mean grand illusion, that everything's going to be fine. We're going to be a nice family. Right.
This will be one tight family unit.
Yeah, and the kids got problems you have no idea.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and it's and it really comes down to like what kind of life that kid had before he got there. Mm-hmm. Hate to say it, but there's a lot of kids that get abused and they have to deal with that kind of shit on the way back, they're trying to progress on through life, but all the stuff that happened to them when they were 4 to 6 or whatever.
If you're going to adopt a girl, she has been sexually abused.
More than likely. Yeah.
And a good chance the boy has too. Not necessarily, but
right, yeah. The
girls almost always get it, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, it's not something I really want to delve into tonight.
I tell you what.
A lot of too much depression and shit going on.
Why don't you play a commercial or two, and then we'll come back and talk about sex and cigarettes.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
When he was born, he drove himself home from the hospital.
Get out the run, man.
He can to infinity twice. He can kill 2 stones with 1 bird. He can hear sign language and speak braille. He can pick oranges from a nearby tree and make the best lemonade you've ever tasted. He can strangle enemies with a cordless phone. He executes imaginary friends. He is the most interesting man in the world. I don't always listen to comedy, but when I do, I listen to Jeff and Dan show. Usually pretty drunk. He is the most interesting man in the world. Stay giggly, my friends.
Sunday. Meet up at the Pennsylvania Convention Lodge and RV Parkatorio. Sunday. Come down for the largest gun show anywhere. Gun show Sunday. Say you've got a neighbor you don't like? Come get some guns. Sunday. That landlord pestering you for rent again? Straight up. Come get a gun. Sunday. That mailman messing with your trailer while you're not home? Get some guns and ammo. Bring your wife. Bring your dog. Bring your guns. Say you got issues with a libtard? Come buy some guns. That D-bag moaning about your president? Give him some lead advice. Love the white after Labor Day? Grab your guns. Fuck off. grab your shotgun. Gun Show Sunday. This weekend at the Pennsylvania Convention Lodge and RV Parkatorium. That's the Pennsylvania Convention Lodge and RV Parkatorium. September 2nd, amendment only. If you've got lead, they gonna be dead.
Ah, and perfect timing.
We're back.
Yes, we're back.
So you want to talk about sex or you want to talk about cigarettes? Let's talk about cigarettes and talk about sex.
All right, even though you do those backwards. I'm going to smoke a lot and then fuck. No.
Well, just so happens that one of my great ways to get laid is I dip a cigarette in chloroform.
All right.
And then let her light it.
That's right, yeah. Formaldehyde. Woohoo! All right. So anyway, all right, cigarettes. What do we got?
Yeah, cigarettes. You and I are both former smokers.
That we are.
And, do you miss it?
Well, I still vape. So, I mean, that's... It's still different than it is smoking cigarettes, but, you know, to be honest with you, I do not miss it.
Really?
I do not. Yeah, as a matter of fact, a really interesting side effect for me with vaping is that I can go someplace and let's just say I'm out of vape and somebody has a cigarette, I can smoke a cigarette and then go right back to vaping and never be like, oh my God, I need another cigarette. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird like that.
Did you transition from smoking occasionally vaping to 50-50 to all vaping?
At first I did. I smoked probably about 60% and then vaped 40%. And during that time I kept thinking, man, this is never going to hold. This is never going to stick. I'm going to hate this. I don't want to do this. And then my wife laid down the law and said, you're not smoking in the house. And it was freezing cold outside. So I was like, fuck that. So I just started vaping full time. And it took over, which was good. So, yeah.
Sometimes I miss it.
Yes.
And it's not that often. But once in a great while, I'll miss it.
Yeah.
And if I ever want one, I just rethink about the time I took a cigarette from you in 2010 and almost threw up. It made me so sick.
Yeah.
That was the last time I smoked. But sometimes I miss it. And so I was just thinking about cigarettes. And I have a couple of facts.
Yeah.
Regarding me and cigarettes.
Okay.
I smoked, in my estimation, 11,000 packs of cigarettes.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that would be an easy number to try and come up with.
Imagine my surprise whenever I did the math. Holy crap.
Man. Yeah, and even if you just averaged out the medium price of what those cost.
When I figured up the price, I lowballed it. I know I lowballed it. But I figured I spent at least $35,000 on cigarettes in my 20 years of smoking.
Yeah, that sounds about accurate.
Money totally wasted? Well, a study of nicotine says that it may do some mental health good.
Okay.
And I do remember one time when I didn't smoke cigarettes, which of course is only within the last 7 years.
Right.
I didn't smoke cigarettes, and I was just going through one of my bad depression times.
Okay.
And for no reason, I brought home a cigar, a Black and Mild wine-flavored cigar.
Oh, yeah.
And I lit it, and I smoked it. Well, some of it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I felt better.
Really?
Yeah. The depression left me, albeit temporarily.
Right.
But it was still a respite from the...
from the typical...
From the ugly depression monster.
Right.
But, so, you know what? Maybe nicotine isn't the big, scary monster... Maybe it's just the delivery mechanism that's the big, scary monster. I'm talking about cigarettes. I'm talking about the actual burning product. I'm talking about the smoke.
Right, yeah.
Because there are, well, so they say,
actual smoke.
7,000 chemicals in a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
I can only see 20.
Yeah. I'm thinking there's only about 20 in there at any given time. They make it seem like that, but then they did it over a course of 1 million cigarettes or some crazy shit. And it's like, yeah, of course you're going to find little bits of stuff in one cigarette. That doesn't mean that they're all going to be contaminated like that. I'd really like to see their study numbers.
Me too.
Exactly what they had in there and how they figured all that out.
Me too.
Because that's just insanity. I mean, at one point they were like, oh, there's 15 chemicals in here. And then next it was like 100 chemicals. And they're like 300 chemicals. And it just kept rising. Every fucking 2-3 years it was another 1,000 chemicals. And now there's 7,000 chemicals in every cigarette that you smoke.
Any of them good, or are they all bad?
They're all bad.
Oh, they're all bad.
Everything.
Not a single one of them are good?
They're all bad.
Any
all
of them
bad.
neutral?
No, as far as I know.
Well, dude, in my cigarette show prep,
Yeah.
I realized one thing.
What's that?
I started whenever I was 18 smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
So therefore, before I was in my 20s, I was a nicotine. Thank you very much, folks. I'm here once a week, Wednesday, 7 o'clock, jeffanddan.com.
That's right. That was good. I liked that. That was funny.
Let's talk about sex.
Okay. Did we run our little poll thing? And what was the answer?
I
on
don't
that?
believe that's any of your business what I do with my poll thing.
Playing with the poll again.
What were we going to run?
We were going to run the poll as to whether or not people wanted to hear whether or not the top 5 women's fantasies.
Yeah.
And then the other 2. I don't remember what it was.
I got the results.
Yeah.
The whole audience voted Saturday night.
Yeah.
And I got the results, and it was 1-0-0 in favor of women's sexual fantasies.
All right.
Yeah.
1-0-0.
Tonight, top 5 most common women's sexual fantasies revealed right here in the Jeff and Dan shop.
Right here on the Jeff and Dan show.
Ribbed for your pleasure.
Are you talking about actually doing that like right now? Are we going to do that like right now?
Well, I mean, I don't, not actually engage in the act of sex.
No. I mean, but we're going to talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the theme music then.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me.
No, not you and me.
Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex.
Let's talk about sex.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. So this is the top 5 female fantasies.
Top 5 female sexual fantasies.
Okay, so I'm gonna need this for a second here. Give me 1 minute. Let me get prepped.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I'll just go ahead and talk about the weather coming up. Weather on the 8s. Traffic
Weather.
on the 9s.
Weather on her 8s. All right, very good. Are we reading off this, or what are we doing?
Well, I guess maybe it's all you.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
okay.
try to guess as we go along what the fantasy is. Okay?
All right.
Okay, we ready?
Give me 1 second. Nope,
Okay.
I still gotta do one more prep.
Okay, how about we talk about the horse race? I made $20 by betting on Jeff and Dan tonight.
Yeah. I didn't make anything. I was going for a gay prostitute. All right. Wait a minute. Damn, I can't spell tonight. What the hell? All right, I'm almost there.
You start talking about sex, and people get sidetracked.
I know, right? What the
And-
hell is that?
Right now, instead of... Yeah, I'm making selfies. Not love, I'm making selfies. Make lunch, not war.
That's right.
Give pizza a chance.
All right. Yeah. Okay, wait a minute. Damn it.
How about if I play some miscellaneous sound effects for
Play
our
some
audience?
miscellaneous sound effects. Ooh, there we go. Oh, holy shit.
That button really works.
It works, and it fucking works well. I'm deaf. No, I'm not. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jan.
I'm deaf and Jan. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Speaking of cock, I have number 5.
Number 5.
Yes.
Women's all-time favorite, most common sexual fantasies.
Yes.
Number 5 is me.
No,
No?
not exactly.
No, I must be number 4.
Well, it could be you, but it would also be you and another dude.
Oh, really?
Number 5 top fantasy is a threesome with 2 men.
A threesome with 2 men.
A threesome with 2 men. You got it.
I'm just going to not say anything anymore.
Let's just not go there.
I can't really say as if I blame a woman.
I know. Well, it's just interesting that women would actually have that as a fantasy. You would think it would be something more along the lines of not so less emotional, I guess. Because if you think about it, you have 2 men there. You have to then, worry about two factors, and as a woman, that's an emotional factor. So you have to worry about these two men and how they feel emotionally and blah, 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 which makes me think that it wouldn't be typically something, but it is. It is number 5.
Number 5 is 2 men.
Yes, it's 2 men.
Well.
Having a threesome with 2 men. All right, yeah, and I want to do you want to take a guess at number 4?
Number 4.
Number
4, most common sexual female fantasy, flowers.
No.
No?
Nope. Number 4 is voyeurism.
Voyeurism.
Voy as in V.
Oh,
yeah.
voyeurism.
Yes, not some dude named Boyer. He's got a thing with his tongue. No, but voyeurism.
What's voyeurism?
Voyeurism is the art or act of going in watching somebody else have sex. Or doing their own thing. In other words, peeking through a window and seeing a chick getting off, or peeking through a window and seeing a chick fuck, or peeking through. Can you tell I've done this before? She wants to be able to see some other people having sex, basically, is what it is.
Oh, she wants to watch?
Yes.
Oh, she's not a participant. She wants to watch.
Correct. So in her fantasy, she actually wants to be able to watch the sex happening, but not letting on that she's there, basically.
In most sexual fantasies with women in this number 4 here, does one of the participants have to be her significant other?
No, it doesn't. As a matter of fact, it'd be preferred if it wasn't. And 2 just other people, period.
That bitch.
I know, right?
At least when I think about threesomes, I think about her.
Some women actually want to have double voyeurism sex fantasies. In other words, they're
Somebody
going to watch...
watching her, watching her?
Yes, exactly. Either they are watching each other without knowing that they're watching each other, which is very difficult to do. Well, think about it like this. Imagine if I had a camera and they had a camera and I'm getting off and she's getting off and I can see her getting off and she can see me getting off, but I can't see, that she's looking at me too. You see what I'm saying?
You're not making eye contact.
Right, yes, exactly.
You're
and
watching a porno.
There's quite a few.
Well, the porno's watching you.
Basically, yes. Actually, there's a couple of places online that you can visit if you have a webcam like you have at the top of your monitor there. Women are getting off to you left and right.
You can't blame them.
Yeah, there's a couple places online. Guys, you might want to take note. There's one called Omegle, which is Omegle, which is it's very much the one place that everybody goes to get off. And there are hand gestures that you can make in your camera to show somebody that you're interested in doing more than just talk to them via face-to-face.
Why do you need a hand gesture?
There's going to be uglies to uglies. What's that?
Why do you need...
Because you kind of just want to be able to do it quick. Like, you want to be able to get the people to know very quickly that that's what you're into.
But we're all here for the same thing.
True, but no, it's not. It wasn't made for that. It was just made for face-to-face video. Yeah.
Okay.
There used to be one a long time ago called Stickam, which is STICKAM.com. It is no longer in business. The reason why it's no longer in business is because it catered to many people, including people who tended to be underage, who also had little fantasies that they wanted to go through while they were underage. That being the case, Stickam is no longer in business.
I had fantasies when I was underage.
Everybody did.
Yeah, I wanted to have sex.
Right.
That was my fantasy.
That was the big fantasy. I want to put this in something.
One day I am going to get naked and do it.
I'm going to put it into this can. Oh, wait a minute.
The embarrassing thing is it fit.
It didn't fit. That's the more embarrassing part. But anyway, yes, that's number 4. So, how about number 3?
Number 3, most common sexual fantasy of the female Homo sapien persuasion?
Yes.
Has to be a steak dinner.
No, actually,
No?
it's not even close to that.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Check.
It's exhibitionism.
Well,
Exhibitionism.
That's kind of like a steak dinner.
Kind of.
What is it?
You get to see some meat. Imagine you're traveling down the road and you're going down a main highway and your wife's getting frisky. She needs a little action, but you can't do anything because you're driving, going about 80, 90 miles an hour. So instead, she decides to go ahead and try and fuck with truckers. So while she's fucking with truckers, she's pulling down her shirt or pulling up her shirt or pulling down her pants or playing with herself or doing something to try and get their eyes looking over. Believe me, dude, there are more women out there that have done exhibition type shit to truckers, and every trucker you know is going to be like, I've seen stuff you would not even fucking believe. Like a guy having full course sex while he's driving 80 miles an hour. Yeah, like he's not even in his seat anymore, kind of fucking. You know what I mean? Yeah, like basically he put it on cruise control and just put his whole body over across the seats and started fucking away and was just driving. Dude, yeah, it's crazy. People have seen the weirdest shit.
Dude, I like sex, but that's just way too dangerous.
Yeah.
I want to live to remember it.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the high when it comes to this, and especially women. I know they tend to do this type of thing. Is they like to live a little closer to the edge, and that's not every woman. It's probably not even remotely the majority of women. It's probably just a few select women. But there are women out there that like that. They want to go fast, and they want to fucking do some crazy messed up shit, you know?
No thanks. No thank you.
I like to live.
So number 3 is
exhibitionism.
They want to be watched.
Yes.
So it's reverse voyeurism.
Correct, yes. Except for that double voyeur fantasy. But yeah, the exhibitionism is the
Women
opposite.
are some kinky motherfuckers.
They're crazy kinky, man. It's nuts. It's nuts. But this is all pent-up shit for a lot of women. I think a lot of women are just like, I don't want to let anybody know about this because it seems a little, deviant. And it is. Technically, on the spectrum of what's normal and what's not, these things are kind of off the scale.
In the normal course of sexual intercourse, that is deviant. That does deviate away from what is considered normal.
Yes.
Yes.
Very much so. And that's, missionary position only on top. That's it. That's the norm. Not even doing any other things like doggy style or the buck or any of that shit. So, all right. So here we go, man. I've got number 2.
Number 2.
Guess what number 2 is?
Most common sexual fantasy of the women persuasion.
Yes.
Number 2. I'm going to take a guess at it.
Okay.
Ribbons all wrapped up in bows?
No.
No, wait. Packages all wrapped up in bows. That's what it is.
No.
They want packages all wrapped up in bows.
I'm sure there's probably a lot of women out there like that, but not when it comes to their sexual fantasies. No, number 2 is actually sex with a younger man.
Oh.
Yes.
Wait a minute. That would mean anybody 50 or older.
That means anybody our age is out of the question.
Why do they want a younger man? Is it the same reasons why young men want younger women? No. Is it the same reason men want young girls, young women, young ladies?
Sort of.
Sort of?
In the case of when it comes to men wanting younger women, we want the tighter body. Yeah. We want the body that's perky boobs and very tight vaginas.
Smooth skin.
Yes. Yeah. Not anything. And I mean,
soft hair.
This is not me. You know what I mean? It's not me. I don't, not anymore. I'm not looking at that, like I might have when I was, 10, 15 years ago. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of gotten to the point where you realize when you're an older guy, you're looking at chicks and you're like, she's a lot more fucking drama than I want to deal with.
Oh, dude, you're not a kid.
Exactly.
You're not a kid.
So that's my main save is the fact that I know these bitches are probably pissing somebody else off, no matter how good they look. So that's what it is. They want a younger man, and most of the reason why they want a younger man is because motility and mobility.
Motility?
Motility is the ability to have sex and be virile. They want to feel a blast of cum in them. You know what I mean?
Hard and ready?
Exactly.
Ready to go?
Exactly. And mobility being the fact that they can still move around and do different sexual positions and stuff like that. I don't really, have to go much further into realizing that, hey, guys 30 and under probably can still do crazy shit like, fuck from a ceiling, but I can't. I couldn't even try that. I couldn't even attempt that. I have problems getting up out of a bed, if that tells you anything.
Dude, I know you don't listen to country.
No.
But there's a very good country song by a very good country artist.
Yeah.
His name is Keith. Oh, shit, I forget his name.
Urban?
No. Toby Keith. He's
the crazy big guy.
He's the crazy. Yeah, you sound just like him.
Yeah.
He has a song that says, I'm as good once as I ever was. And basically what that means, have you heard that song?
Yes, I have.
Basically what that means is he can't be 18 all night.
Right.
But for half an hour he can be 18.
Yeah, exactly.
So I kind of associate with that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it brings right down to point. You got to know that, You can probably output, some energy for a short period of time, but yeah, and later on in the night, it's like, I'm out. Fuck that.
Something else too with an older fella who's been around the block a time or two, been around the track.
Yeah,
he knows. Boom goes the dynamite. Can be controlled by stopping.
Right.
Take a break.
Yes, exactly.
Grab a drink of water.
Right. Yeah.
And it also helps the female, too, when you stop, take a break.
Yeah.
There's some kisses on the neck.
Oh, there's women out there, though, man, that younger chicks, they just want fucking bang, 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 bang. And that's all they want.
Well, I believe women's sexuality is changing. And I believe men's sexuality is changing, too.
I do. I agree.
I almost believe it's almost a role reversal.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So now we're going to come down to number one.
Number one of the top 5 women's most...
Yes, sexual fantasies.
Yes, I'm going to take a guess at it.
Okay, go for it.
Let me think here.
It should be quite obvious.
Yes, I got it.
Okay.
Not having to do the dishes first.
Oh, my God, you hit it right on the nose.
Oh, I knew it. Guess what I got my wife?
I washed the fucking dishes. My wife literally I was in cleaning out the air conditioner filter the other night, and she actually took a picture of me and put it on fucking Facebook. She was trying to get me back. Dude, you want to know what the funniest part about this was?
What?
She had posted other pictures from earlier that day or that, the day before or whatever of our kids going to school. And she got more likes on me fucking that stupid picture of me cleaning the fucking air conditioning filter.
I didn't even see that.
It's like a sign. They just want me to do the work. Then I get up with your fat ass. No, number one is actually not doing the dishes.
It's not doing the air conditioning either?
It is not cleaning out the air conditioner, no.
Oh, what is number one?
Doing it in a 1947 Plymouth. No, I'm just kidding.
I have one of those.
Oh my God, we're going to make a lot of dreams come true. Well, actually, this one is kind of out of our hands. The number one sexual fantasy is lesbian sex.
Ooh, lesbian sex.
Yes, lesbian sex. Whether it's watching it in a pornographic film or actually doing it, which doing it is more what they kind of crave. The thing is, and this is the problem that comes along for almost every woman, especially women of older age, is the fact that, first of all, they don't want to have that situation where it's a friend and they've done some lesbian stuff and now it's very awkward. So the majority of the time, and this is pretty much true for all women, the majority of the time they would much rather find somebody else that they've not known or haven't met, recently, if they just met not that long ago. Then it would be okay to do it. And then also there's clubs out there where you can do that kind of shit too, which I wish they had that for men. Or wait a minute, no.
Well, they do.
Yeah, that's called Grindr. No, fuck that.
Well,
my gaydar's going off.
I'm sorry. I jumped to the conclusions there. They have a swingers club.
Yes, that's what I was trying to get to. Swingers and S&M clubs. Yeah.
They have swingers clubs.
Swingers the big one, yeah. Especially when they have the orgies and stuff like that. So, and it's so strange to me that our prudish nature is to take sex and make it such an awful thing. Because, dude, swingers clubs would be perfect. They really, really would. Think about this for a second. Imagine the amount of guys and women, there are women too, who have issues with not being able to have sex or not having the right amount of sex or having, whatever. It comes down to somebody could be out there raping somebody because they couldn't get off and there was no place for them to go and do this. Now, bring in these and take away our prudish nature, and of course, swingers clubs would be like huge. They'd be enormous. And of course, yeah, there's always the round of prostitution. Hey, I can go out and get a prostitute, You can do that, sure, if you've got the money and all that, but swingers clubs are open to not people paying money, but open to the fact that these people are coming in and having sex with pretty much anybody there.
That's kind of scary in a way.
It is.
So, I walk into the club. Everybody stops what they're doing, looks at me.
And then two guys come over to you, start caressing your shoulders.
Oh, hey, that service here is pretty good, huh?
You like pitching or catching?
Well,
I'll pitch.
I just want to ump. No, ump, not hump.
Umps, not humps, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, back to that club thing.
Yeah.
I walk into a club and I'm wanting to get laid, okay? And I'm wanting to do it with anybody that looks good of the female persuasion.
Sure.
Now, I know I'm clean.
Right.
And in my mind's eye, I'm okay and acceptable enough looking-wise.
Sure.
That it wouldn't be no big deal to have sex with me.
Okay.
And then when you think about it, okay, she did me. Who else did you do?
Right, yeah.
Then you start taking a look at some of the men in here.
And it's like, yeah, you were just fucking a guy a minute ago. Ooh, get your dick out of her. Yeah.
No wonder this club is in Perry County.
No, then they'd all be related.
We could have just had it over at Mom's house.
Come on out to the barn, boy. It's going to be a good night. No, but seriously, that I see what you're saying. You're worried about whether or not people are going to, and in a lot of ways, most people don't want to do that. You know what I mean? They don't want to fucking give a disease to somebody else.
Right.
They're not really out to do that. They just want to get their rocks off.
Sex is dirty. I don't mean that dirty as in you have a dirty mind.
Right.
I mean sex is physically dirty.
Yes, very much so.
So
yeah, when it comes to exterior bacteria, there's a lot of things that can end up happening, and you get them into your system, especially if you're female or if you're a gay man. You can end up having these bacteria enter your system, and if they do, that's no fun at the party then, because then it turns into infections, and it gets really, really bad.
that's why I always wrap it with a Clorox wipe.
It burns for the first 3 minutes, but then I don't feel anything.
Then it's numb and I fuck all night.
I'm gonna tear into some bitches. Oh, damn it. Yeah. Mr. Floppy. Come on, wake up, Mr. Floppy.
Anybody got a popsicle stick and some tape?
Yes, so that is our list of the top 5 women's fantasies.
Let's recap.
Recap.
Number 5.
Number 5 is, let me go back here. Hang on a minute. Number 5 is a threesome with 2 men.
A threesome with 2 men.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4 is voyeurism.
Voyeurism.
That is looking in on somebody else having sex.
Watching the act.
That's right. Number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3 is exhibitionism.
The reverse voyeurism,
Yes.
exhibitionism.
You want to show off your body and show them what you got. It doesn't matter what you look like. As long as you got tits and pussy hair, I think everybody looks.
Show the goods.
That's right. And number 2.
Number 2.
Sex with a younger man.
Sex with a young man.
Yes, with a younger man.
Yeah.
You need a stud.
Yeah.
And finally, number 1.
Number 1.
Lesbian sex.
Lesbian sex.
She just wants that non-committal bullshit with a tongue up her twat. Anyway, because we're so concerned about giving you more than what you want, we're going to tell you what numbers 6 through 10 are.
All right, bonus time.
Yes, that's right. It's boner.
Dude, I do have to say, with unveiling all these sexual fantasies of the women persuasion,
Yeah.
I must be a woman.
Because I want to do all the things too. Except for the sex with the 2 men.
Oh, it don't matter.
Condom on, games on. Let's go.
Number 10.
Actually, I'm going to go 6 to 10. Let's do 6.
Number 6.
Yeah, so we're going up now. So we're going to try threesome with another woman.
Threesome with another.
So
So
it's
2 women and 1 man?
Yes, so it's like lesbian sex, but it's like taking your partner with you and then another woman. So yeah, threesome with another woman.
No, I'm kind of curious about the mechanics.
The mechanics.
Just curiosity. I'm not stockpiling any information
You
for
just
later
want
in
the
the future.
nuts and bolts of
I
it.
just want the nuts.
Yeah.
These nuts
These nuts.
and bolts.
Yes.
Now,
How does this work? That what
the
you're wondering?
male and female A are a couple, been married for 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
They want to spice things up and they want to invite a woman so they can experience number 6.
Yes, number 6.
Now they invite the woman in, and according to woman number 1, can the guy have as much fun and pay as much attention to female B?
It's really kind of something that needs to be discussed. Don't walk into it blindly. Don't just go, well, I'm going to get you a woman for Valentine's Day and you can fuck both of us. You know what I mean? Or, you know, I'll
Here it
want
turns
her
out
come
to
in.
be a present for you.
Right, exactly. It's a present for you, but she actually wanted it to be a present for her, which means this bitch is probably going to be eating her out. Anyway, yeah. Really, honestly, that's what it comes down to. The women are like, oh, yeah, we can get another chick, no problem. And then the chick comes in and she wants to, your wife or girlfriend or whatever wants that woman to eat her out. And then what are you supposed to do? Just sit there and watch?
Yeah, because she doesn't want to touch you.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Meanwhile, back at the Bat Cave. Yeah, you want to be jamming it into her from one side or another. No, seriously, if you're going to have that kind of if you're going to have that kind of fun, you should really, really have the conversation. Always talk about that, because it's going to be so much more difficult if you don't learn about it or figure out what's going to happen when that third person gets there.
See, dude, that's why I like hookers.
Yeah.
You don't have to play these games.
Right.
You got 2 20s, you got 2 hookers.
What do we live in, the wild fucking West? When was the last time you paid for pussy?
4 days ago.
Oh, wow. God, that sucks. Yeah, I left a little note on
Well,
that.
I had to promise to do the grass. Cost me a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All right.
everybody knows I'm full of shit.
Yes, we're all
Jeff,
full of
what's
shit.
number 7?
Number 7.
And boom goes the dime. Wait. Let me guess.
Take a guess.
A quiet night with a book.
That's not sex. Or it could be. If it's 50 Shades of Grey.
Have you? Yeah, I was going to say, have you seen the book?
No, I haven't.
50 Shades of Taupe.
The Joy of Sex. No, in this case, it's the joy of sex with a stranger.
Number 7 is
Number
the joy
7.
of sex with a stranger.
It is. Yes, it is. A woman wants to have some promiscuity. Now, normally this is going to be women that are not attached, more than likely. They don't have like a boyfriend or significant other. And in a lot of ways, this list of stuff is kind of more for women who are single than it is women that are attached. But it doesn't make a difference.
Fantasy is a fantasy.
Exactly. So it's just a fantasy. As long as they don't go through with living it, we're good to go. But yeah, so it's sex with a stranger.
Why does she want sex with a stranger?
Well, there's a couple of different reasons why. One, there's no attachments. If you remember the movie Pretty Woman, there was Julia Roberts, and she always had her thing, where she had never had sex, of course, as a prostitute. I don't know if you knew that, but in the movie Pretty Woman, she had never done it for money, and she was just now starting to do it so she could pay rent. Right. The thing was, is she had one rule, and one rule only.
No kiss on the lips.
No kissing on the lips, correct. That was the main thing. And that's kind of what you can do with sex with a stranger, is kind of come up with your little rules. You don't have to know the person's name. You don't have to do any of that shit. And you can come up with that rule, no kissing on the lips. Because I tell you what it does, and this is exactly what happened in Pretty Woman. It drove the men fucking crazy. They want to be able to do that. I know when I did, I wanted to be able to do that too.
You
fucking prostitutes. Anyway, what?
You pretend you're Julia Roberts. What's her character name? Do you remember? Vivian.
I think so, yeah.
Vivian.
Yeah.
Vivian. Do you have any rules?
Yeah.
What's that?
No kiss on the lips.
Oh. Both sets?
Which lips are we talking about? Not the ones on my face, big man.
Okay, number 8.
Number 8.
Number 8.
Number 8. You should take a guess at number 8.
Number 8. Okay. Sex on a pool table.
Actually, it's pretty close.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, I'm getting good.
It is. It is more of generalization. It's not. That's the thing with these, is they're not really right. They're not specific sort of thing.
Each woman would take one of these categories and fine tune it to her own likes.
Sure, of course. Number 8 is role playing.
Role play.
Yes. Yep. You're the sheriff, big bad sheriff, and she's the prostitute of the town. Or you're the big bad zombie, and she's the big bad zombie killer. Next thing you know, you wake up with knife wounds. They're transporting you to the hospital. You did such a good job.
Yeah, we pretended that I was a zombie and she was a zombie killer. I came in. I wanted brains. I knew I was going to be hungry, starving, so I left.
Yeah. I was going to say, it was a role reversal. I came in, started stabbing her.
Role reversal? I came in her and started yelling at her about the trash.
I'll play the wife, you play the husband. Yeah, no, but role-playing, that's really what it is.
Let me ask you some questions about role-play.
Okay.
How do you do it without busting up laughing?
Well, that's the thing.
For real. Like,
well, that's the thing.
We're playing dress-up. We're playing kid sex because we're going to play dress-up, basically, fantasy, and
like
make
playing
believe,
house,
and pretend.
Sure.
And then we're going to get it on.
Right, exactly.
There ain't going to be no pretending then.
But here's the thing. That's the point of the pretending, and it's you can do and say whatever you like. I've been with women who had a very difficult time dirty talking, speaking in dirtiness. Just like, oh, God, I want you to fuck me, right? Something like that. They have problems saying that because they do this. Oh, my God, I want you to fuck me. And I'm just like, what the fuck is so funny about that? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, damn, can you take it serious for a minute, And then they say cock, and all of a sudden they start fucking rolling. They're laughing. And that's the problem. That's the thing.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. See, but here's the thing. A lot of the times when it comes to role-playing, especially if it's not a fantasy, if it's something that's, let's say you went to a sex therapist or a family therapist or, a marriage counselor, and they said, maybe try some stuff to spice up your life, to make things a little bit better, then that's when you realize you need to take everything a little more seriously at that point. You and I are always going to laugh about that shit for the rest of our lives. But the thing is, if you're really, really, really struggling with your marriage, you'll do these things in order to be able to get beyond that. And hey, sometimes shit does make people laugh. You know what I mean? She's the bored, lonely housewife, and I came in to play the plumber. I'm going to lay some pipe. You know what I mean? So, so basically you end up fucking on the kitchen floor. It's kind of how it turns out. You know what I mean? So don't step around my kitchen if you get a chance.
Wear shoes.
Yeah. You might slip a little bit, so don't go near the sink. But see, that's what it is. It just, you really, if it's a situation where it's something that's going to be helping, not in a sexual fantasy way, but something that's going to be helping a relationship that's sort of lost its spark, then that's what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to do that without, the compromise of laughing about it or what have you. You really kind of want to fill the role in order to make it feel like that's really what it's like. Like, ooh, yeah, I am the great plumber. And, she is going to get some pipe laid. You know what I mean? So that's, you both kind of get into that. And that's the thing. It's not stuck on just one thing. It could be the pilot and the stewardess. It could be, you know what I mean? There's numerous roles that you could play. And of course, I've seen, in sex tapes and shit like that, where people are like, they talk to one another and they say something and then they start giggling about it, but then they get back into their characters and they continue on. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, oh yeah, they had their fun with it for a minute, but then they, got back into their serious nature.
Honey, I'd like to play some role playing. Maybe I could be Dan, the man that just gets home from work, and you could be your mom, the mother-in-law, waiting for me. Whack.
Your sister? Whack. Your brother? Whack. Yeah. No, that's, yeah.
Role-playing so far has been the only sexual fantasy that has been allowing of my Christian religion to possibly even
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything else has been deviant according to Christianity.
Now you pretend you're Mary.
I'll pretend I'm Joseph.
And guess what? They didn't do it for.
That's right. Exactly. She was a virgin.
Okay. Yeah. Number 8.
All right. That was number 8. We're going to number 9.
Number 8?
Yes, that was number 8. Now we're on number 9.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yes. Number 9.
Number 9 is domination sex.
Domination sex.
Yes. And it's one way or another.
Sounds like something I'm hip to. but explain a little bit. Maybe I can.
It's more about bondage.
Really?
It's like James bondage.
James bondage.
Yeah, it's bondage. It's basically like there's everything from the lighthearted playing of handcuffs to the bedpost kind of thing. But then there's more where you can kind of get into like the ball gag where you put something in their mouth or even worse, the strap on for the woman, then she pegs you. Where it's just like, wow, you know what? I didn't want to be the submissive, but okay.
Put the ball gag in me so neighbors don't hear me scream.
Exactly. And there's other stuff. I mean, there's stuff too that gets considered to be domination, but it really isn't. One of the things I know, people are a little bit kind of like, well, I don't know if that's really submissive behavior or what, but is a ceiling swing, where you actually connect a swing to the ceiling and then basically it spins around. And then the way the woman sits in there, her legs get held up and her vagina is actually basically like just right down through the hole. So you can lower her down on the swing and then spin her while you're fucking her. Yeah. So she spins around like this and you're just going to town like, fucking the top.
Is it like rubber bands holding her?
Kind of. It's actually nylon straps, but there is an adjustment system at the top. Now this is one kind. There's other kinds that are available.
If you pull down too hard and let go, so you're gonna smack up into the ceiling,
like pulling a bra strap. Yeah, basically. No. Usually
with domination, it does not necessarily mean pain, or does it go hand in hand with pain?
Mental pain. That's all it is. Just mental pain. It's her being able to dominate you. And sometimes it's still considered domination sex, is when the man dominates the woman. Get down on your knees, bitch. Start sucking my dick. You know what I mean? That kind of shit. Yeah, exactly. There are women out there who they thrive on that kind of thing. And some people call it S&M. It's not necessarily S&M. S&M is sadomasochism.
And that's pain.
That's pain, yes. That's actual pain. That's where they're smacking you with dildos and fucking, yeah, like totally whipping you with a riding crop and shit like that. That's that. It can be involved in domination sex, but the majority of domination sex is just somebody who's domineering over a submissive. So it's a man talking to a woman, making her do stuff like she's sitting on the ground with her hands behind her back and she's butt naked, and then you're sticking fucking plungers in her twat, and you know what I mean? Shit like that. I've never done that.
Which end do you use?
The one that looks like it'll fit. Well, both of them. God damn, what size plunger you got? Oh, you said plunger. Yeah. Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Well.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be willing to try number 9.
Number 9 is definitely something that has to have a lot of talk points. One of the things, especially if you do more of the sadomasochism, they have a thing called BDSM. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's if you go any kind of adult sites or anything, you type in BDSM. It's basically bondage, domination, sadomasochism. That's what each one of those stand for. Okay, so it's BDSM. And like I said, it can be the domination thing where it's just mental, a lot of words, a lot of speaking, a lot of somebody taking control. But then there's S&M, and S is the person that's taking control, and the M's the person that's taking it. Not the control. So there's always that kind of thing. And it's not everybody's cup of tea. There are a lot of clubs in this world dedicated to that. You can go to New York City and probably find one just about every corner of every block for the most part. It's not really that much, but it's quite frequently. You know what I mean? They're hidden for the most part. You need to know in order to get into it.
I'm willing to do things for my partner.
Yeah.
But this one just seems a little bit kind of odd to me. But that's okay.
Yeah. To each his own. That's what it is. To each his own. Yeah. All right. So let's go with number 10. You take a guess.
Number 10. Take a guess at number 10. Okay.
Yes.
Most